Hey guys, so I'm going to give another try at doing some engraving. I actually use SketchUp and this, what used to be called the Flat Script plugin, spelled PH, is now SketchuCam plugin in SketchUp, and generated just a bit of text with that plugin. And I'm going to give it a little quick try here, and we'll see how well it engraves here. So I'll put you guys on the stand again, and we'll see how we go here. Okay, so I aborted the engraving. You can see here that it started doing an E, and you would have seen what the problem was right at the beginning. First off, this bit doesn't plunge, so when it hit the material it could scribe the surface a bit, but once it tried to go into any depth of the material, it actually you could actually see it getting pushed up into the collet. Which is probably a good thing I didn't tighten that collet too tight, because it probably would have caused some problems. But you can also see another problem. There's actually probably several problems going on here. One is, with an engraving head, I think typically the bit has some spring loading in it, so that you're always in contact with the surface of the material. But I think we may also be seeing another problem here, which was that I don't think that my bed is 100% level relative to the motion of the surface here. And by that I mean is it may be tilted at like that kind of an angle to exaggerate it, according to this here. And that is, whereas this cut to some extent, not great. You can see right at the end it wasn't cutting hardly at all. But it may be slightly tilted here, and that's believable. I can actually believe that that's true. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my proper engraving bit, which actually can do a good depth of cut, but I don't want it to cut too deep. And what I'm going to do is see if this works any better for engraving the lettering there. Seemed to work okay. That's visibly an E there. And we'll see how that ends up looking. Okay, so it took me a bit to find these. I bought these a while ago on eBay, and I'm quite clever. I go and I put stuff in a logical place that I only remember after I find it. Anyways, these are these, well, they call them 45-degree V-bits. That doesn't look like 45 degrees to me. Not sure what the 45 refers to, but whatever. Doesn't matter to me right now. I'm not sure what material these are suitable for. This looks just like it's high-speed steel. So I'm going to say that it probably wouldn't be good on anything like hard like stainless, but who knows. I'll have to go and see if I can find another eBay ad that's similar, and see if I can figure out what this is good for. But in any case, these are proper engraving bits, so I'm going to chuck one into the router and try again with this. I also adjusted my file so that it wasn't trying to plunge so deep. It was trying to plunge, 1/16 of an inch I think it was, or was it a 32nd? I don't recall. It was roughly about 70 thousandths of an inch, between 60 and 70 thousandths of an inch, which I think is a 16th of an inch. So that was probably a little bit harder. I changed it to 25 thousandths. So what I'll do is I'll bring this down, touch it on the surface with the loose collet, so it pushes it up into the collet. That'll be 0, and then I'll reset the 0 in the software here, where I send a reset 0 command from, you know, Universal G-Code Center to the Gerbil device here, and we'll see how we go. Greg had asked about some details of the electronics. He was going to send me some questions. At the end of this video, actually I'll do a separate video on the electronics. This is the electronics I made for another unit. I've got actually much simpler electronics that I was planning on using for this one here. It should be perfectly adequate. But in any case, we'll deal with that after this video is done. Okay, so I used the jog commands to move over to this location here, and with the tool bit loose in the collet, I jogged down till it was had pushed the tool bit up into the collet. Then I tightened the collet, and I reset the 0 point, so that's the new 0 point in all 3 axes. And what I'll do is I will run the program now. We'll see how we go. There you go. And that worked incredibly well. The incredibly imaginative enter text, the default for when you want to drop a text object on there. That actually looks pretty good. Now, in case you're wondering, the way that I created the text, I hadn't quite figured out how to do the inside of the E's. So it didn't do the inside of the E's. That wasn't a defect in the program. It's a defect in my knowledge there. But that turned out really well. It was looking pretty furry at the beginning, and I initially was blowing it off just, well, with lung power. And I was thinking, uh-oh, this is going to need some follow-up sanding to clean this up to make it look good. But the reality was, once I used some shop air and blew that out, that came out with some really nice crisp text. Almost tempted to pour a little bit of paint in there and wipe it off the surface and see what that looks like, but that looks pretty damn good. Now that's 1/2 inch high text. Is that 1/2 inch? That's what I told it to do, but that looks a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch. It looks closer to 3/4 of an inch. In any case, let's just quickly check here. Actually it is 1/2 inch high. The E is 1/2 inch high. Okay, so that was very, very satisfying. And it looks like the depth of the text is slightly different on this end as opposed to this end, but it's not horrendous. Like, it's not a horrendous difference here. So I'm not too worried about that. It'd be interesting to see what would have happened if this text would have stretched, all the way over to the right here. But I am very, very happy with how that turned out. Now, what I can do to correct the difference in the height is I've got a couple of different options here. Now, there's not a lot of adjustability in the rails here, in the support rails for this thing here. And I did put a bit like the holes that I used when I used a Forster bit to make the holes, the pocket holes for the pipe to rest in. I didn't have 22 millimeter, so I used, I think it was 3/4, and that's slightly larger than the pipe size, which actually works in my favor because I can actually shim it. Now, for a different version of this unit, what I had seen other people do was a suggestion for a future version that would be a little bit more adjustable, is you bring the pipe all the way out, you have it sticking out about 3/4 of an inch, and you have what amounts to an adjustment block with screws, you know, left, right, up, down, so that you can adjust it and set the height accordingly, and you can also space it, set your gaps accordingly and all that, so, or your you know, like the interior gap between the two pipes, you can set that. You can set the height so that they're perfectly level. If they're level front to back, what I can actually do, like if there's not a twist in the height, like if one pipe isn't going that way and one's going that way, if they're both going up like that or they're both going down like that, or if they're even but they're like that, what I can do is I can actually surface the table here, and then that will make it perfectly flat with respect to the travel of the two X and Y axes, and that, you know, should solve a lot of this problem. It doesn't look like it's very bad. It looks like it's pretty close. You know, like the T is slightly less deep, but it wasn't a deep cut as it was anyways. In any case, I've been rambling for 9 minutes here, including the time for the routing. I think that's going to be it for this video today. I'm going to do a separate video on the electronics that I use here, and then we'll go from there on what I intended to use for this unit here. So I will say thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in a bit.